Hello, folks. Scott Haskin here with another quick audio tip. I've talked about, especially in relation to my Mental Sauna music, and sometimes some of the film score work and things I've done where I roll off the attack on the percussion. And I've talked about it on the podcast, I've talked about it in various places, but I thought it might be a good idea to give you an example or show you what that really is and how easy it is to do for those of you who want to do it. As always, I am using Cakewalk by BandLab as my digital audio workstation. And in this case, I am using Contact as my instruments. We're going to focus on the kick and snare today. So I've got a rock kit for the kick drum and a pop kit for the snare drum. You'll want to do these on separate tracks because you may want to set the settings differently. If you put them together on one track, then you're going to have the same settings affect both drums, or if all your drums are on one track, it's going to affect the cymbals and the toms and hi-hats and everything else. So we'll start with just playing you a little bit of what the kick and snare are doing so you can get an idea what it sounds like. So not too heavy on the attack, but we could still use this. So let's start with the kick drum. So since these are done as MIDI, we can affect them. They have not hit the audio signal yet as far as recording. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the rock kit, which is our kick drum. And we're going to look at this waveform right down here. Now, sometimes this is closed and it'll come up like this. So you want to look down at your modulation, click that, and it opens up what the waveform of the sample is. So the first thing that you want to do, there's mainly two places that we're going to look at affecting, and that is the attack and the curve. So we'll start with the attack because that would make sense. And obviously you can see it's going to make a difference now in how the waveform is affected. So let's hear this. Well, that sounds like nothing, doesn't it? Okay, let's try this. A little bit in. Okay, so that's really making a huge change in what we hear. All the attack is gone. The attack, which is initially kind of punchy, is now, even with this little bit, almost gone. Barely even audible, right? So in this case, we probably wouldn't want to go too heavy. Just maybe roll off a little bit of it so that you're not getting that that attack, that hit on you. Maybe a little more. So here's this difference from the original. So it doesn't hit you as hard in the chest. And for something like relaxation music where you might want a little percussion in there, just to add a little bit of a rhythmic side to it, but you don't want anything that's going to take you out of that relaxed state, and a percussive hit will do that. So I would say probably here should be good. Maybe a little bit more where I had it. So you're still getting the drum, but you're not getting that heavy attack. Snare, however, this will be a little bit different. So we'll go ahead and minimize this. You want to click the little wrench to open and close that. So our snare is on the pop kit. And let's hear again what that snare sounds like. So lots of attack on that, right? So here, as you can see, we open it up. The modulation is closed up. So we just open the modulation and away we go. So that's not too bad. If you wanted to affect the curve, you could a little bit. Not a huge amount of difference on this particular sample. Sometimes it really makes a difference and sometimes it doesn't. If we push it too far, we'll get that same issue we had with the kick drum. Not really a drum even at all. A little more. Okay, let's say that's pretty good. So let's say we want to hear the kick and snare together and see what we've done. Now, I would say we probably want to raise the volume of the kick drum a little bit too because it's so quiet now. So nothing that's too shocking, nothing that's going to take you out of like a meditative state or anything like that. But just for contrast and comparison, if we want to hear the beginning again, I'll play this one more time and then I'll go ahead and reset it, and we'll see the difference. So huge difference. So if you're trying to get something rhythmic going, but you don't want to have that heavy attack, you could just roll off the attack a little bit on the waveform. Once you've burned it to audio, it's a little bit harder. Actually, it's a ton harder to do. It's easiest to do in a MIDI state because you can control the sample once it's burned in. Yeah, it's a huge pain in the ass, so don't do that. Very simple way. Once you've done that, then you can go ahead and bounce the track. If you want to hear how the whole drum set would sound, you could just unsolo everything and go hear the drums. Would help if I turn that solo off now, wouldn't it? So yeah, it's going to make a difference on if you're doing a drum set or not. This is really mostly for doing percussion, percussion rhythms, percussion beds, percussion for any kind of yoga, relaxation, new age, sleep aid music, anything like that. So anyway, hopefully this will give you a good basic idea of what rolling off the attack is and how to do it. And there you go. Happy composing, folks.